Welcome everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to Tesla Album Ranking. So the band formed in 1981 but didn't release its debut album until 1986, 5 years later, and while they've always been lumped in with glam metal, they actually had more to do with 70s hard rock than any other particular sound. In all, the band has released 10 studio albums. Join me as we count these down, but before we get started, if you are new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by subscribing, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music, just like this with Tesla Album Ranking. All right, so we've got their 10 studio albums here to jump through, and kicking things off, coming in at number 10, we've got Shock from 2018, 10th studio album from the band. For this one here, the band collaborated with Phil Collen of Def Leppard, their guitar player. He co-wrote, played, and produced the album, which all led this to sound more like a Def Leppard album than a Tesla album. For example, the song Taste Like on here, to me that sounds like a part 2 of Pour Some Sugar on Me, which is not necessarily a bad thing, especially if you like Def Leppard. I certainly like Def Leppard, but if you're expecting a 70s hard rock album and you're getting an overproduced, multi-layered sounding album instead, it's quite a shock. Hence the title, I think, the reason they're calling it that. I would have preferred that they added to the name of the band something like Tesla featuring Phil Collen or Tesla and Phil Collen to the name, just to distinguish this from the standard Tesla album, because the sound is so different from anything that Tesla has ever done. It's almost a pop rock album that you would have expected glossed up back in the 80s as opposed to any of the straight up hard rock that Tesla is known for. Unfortunately, that is why it is bringing it in at last place. All right, coming in at number 9, Reel to Reel from 2007, 6th studio album by the band. It's a double album of covers that was actually released separately. So disc 1 was released in stores, you could buy that, but the second disc, you had to go to see them in concert, and you could buy it there at the concert, and or I think they might have even given it away with some ticket sales. But it's also the first album to feature new guitarist Dave Rude. And you know, in general, covers albums can be really interesting if something unique is done to the interpretation of the songs. But here they're pretty faithfully recreated. Jeff Keith's vocals is about the only thing on it that signals this is a Tesla album. They do some unexpected covers on here, which that part of it makes it interesting. All the Young Dudes by Mott the Hoople, Is It My Body by Alice Cooper, and Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers from ZZ Top. You know, unexpected one. You would have thought they did something like Tush or, you know, one of those, but get a really nice one there. The album does have that 70s hard rock sound, and so it's not outside the wheelhouse of a Tesla album, but due to the album being all covers and without any real unique interpretations to the songs, that's why this one places at number 9. Okay, coming in at number 8, Simplicity from 2014, 9th studio album from the band. And it's another one that the band made a conscious decision to revise its sound on. For this album here, they wanted to strip everything away, be more simplistic, capture a mood, and not worry technically about the song, also limiting the amount of post-production work of things like overdubs and layering and stuff. Again, hence the title Simplicity. So interesting how they're using the titles to sort of denote the changes or what's going on with the album. But in all, the album is good, but it lacks that musical depth of earlier recordings, in my opinion. The songs are so stripped back that they're missing that Tesla sound, what you would expect. But I also think what it's missing is the songwriting style of former guitarist Tommy Skeech, who's not on here. His absence is really felt on this album, maybe more than any other that he's not on. Still, though, there are some high points on this album. Other Than Me and Break of Dawn is really good on this. Those are both great listens, but despite the raw nature of the whole thing, that's why it places where it does. Okay, so coming in at number 7, Twisted Wires from 2011, 8th studio album from the band. This is an acoustic album, and it's a follow-up to their 5-man acoustical jam from 1990, which that album broke a lot of ground at the time. Bands were not doing acoustical albums. Some even say that's what led to MTV's Unplugged, which of course exploded the whole Unplugged album thing. But this album here is comprised of 2 recording sessions, the first of which features original guitarist Tommy Skeach, and the second one his replacement Dave Rude on it. Although with the 2 different sessions, it does all sound cohesive, so that's a good thing. And the album features 2 new songs on it, Second Street and Better Off Without You. There's also one song on here making its CD debut, or physical release debut, because it was released digitally on here, the song I Love You. The performances, acoustic interpretations, and new material all lend this album to a unique feel on it. It breathes new life into those classic songs, and the new songs fit nicely alongside those, making this a worthy addition to the catalog of Tesla. Coming in at number 6, Forevermore from 2008, 7th studio album from the band. First one of all original material that new guitarist Dave Rude shows up on. And it's a good follow-up to the previous album, Into the Now, which came out in 2004. Despite losing guitarist Tommy Skeach, the album is solid from start to finish on this. However, there's not much variety in the playing that's on this, and I think it's missing those counterparts and play moments that are from previous albums where there's the acoustic instrumentation layered up against the electric or harder instrumentation, that sort of thing, or the song that starts off melodic and then gets heavier and so forth. Those sort of things tend to be missing from this album. But it's a solid hard rock album that's spot on. Some very strong songs that are on it, Just in Case, Breakin' Free, Private Ledbetter, all of that leading to this album placing at number 6. Coming in at number 5, we have Into the Now from 2004, 5th studio album from the band. And it was a reunion album too. First album they released in 10 years. This one here also features original guitarist Tommy Skeach and would be the last one to feature him as well. Great, strong return for the band. They built on their sound of the previous albums like Psychotic Supper and Busted Nut. Great follow-up to those albums, but it's much heavier and darker sounding at times, and there's little to do with the sound of the first 2 albums on it. Also, though, gone that's on this is the production of those earlier albums. So I think it's partly due to the fact that this was the early 2000s and so forth, but missing that aspect of it does set this album apart from those. Still, though, it has some great tracks on it, like Into the Now, What a Shame, Heaven 9/11, but the heavier modern sounds on here tend to weigh on me before the album is over, and there's just too much of the same sound on these songs to make it rank any higher in the countdown. Coming in at number 4, Bust a Nut, 1994. 4th studio album from the band, bucking the trends at the time, going against the sound of grunge and alternative rock, things of that nature. The band continued their signature sound, but they became a bit darker and a bit heavier in the process as each album has developed a little bit in that direction. Still, though, they delivered some great Tesla recordings on here, like Shine Away, Try So Hard, Mama's Full, and A Lot to Lose. All really great, making it even more shocking when the band decided to go on hiatus after this album was released. It's due mostly, though, to guitarist Tommy Skeach and his struggle with his substance abuse. But Jeff Keith, vocalist and guitarist Tommy Skeach, did later return in a band called Bar 7 during Tesla's 6-year absence. So if you're looking for that long-lost Tesla album, Bar 7, check it out. Coming in at number 3, Psychotic Supper from 1991, 3rd studio album from the band, featuring my favorite song and the lead single off here, Edison's Medicine, an absolute powerhouse of a song if ever there was one. And the rest of the album itself is very good. In my opinion, though, it didn't really hold up to that particular song. That song is a standout track, and there was just really nothing else like it on the album. But the album, I think, was also heavily influenced by the success of their acoustic live album, Five-Man Acoustical Jam from 1990. As more of the songs featured the acoustic instrumentation within it, Call It What You Want, Song and Emotion, What You Give, all slower, more melodic in style, lending to a different feel for this album than the first two. But then there's also deep cuts on this, like Freedom Slaves and Time, that I think provide this album quite a bit of depth and interest beyond just the hits on it, which allow it to come in at position number 3. All right, coming in at number 2, Mechanical Resonance from 1986 debut studio album. So while rooted in the 70s hard rock sound, this one here is probably their most metallic sounding of all their albums. It does contain the monumental hit Modern Day Cowboy, but the album also displayed a variety of style, showing what the band was really capable of. Songs like Changes, Little Susie, which was a surprise cover that they did on here, doing a really interesting interpretation of that. Getting Better, a song that features a melodic acoustic intro and then kicks in with 70s hard rock sound in it. And again, just showing that counterplay that they could do. So this style of intriguing multiple pieces being melded into a single song sort of became a signature style for them going forward. Unfortunately, though, I do think it has been sorely missed on the later day releases of the last few that they have done. All right, and coming in at number 1, The Great Radio Controversy from 1989, second studio album from the band. This one here takes everything that was great about the debut album, elevates it, enhances it, drops most of the metallic sound in here in favor of the 70s hard rock roots that their sound was based on anyways, but it's still embedded in that glam metal sound. And I know they're not really considered a glam metal band, but that production value and everything was still really rooted within that, bringing it as part of it. So great production overall. Opening track, Hang Tough, sets the tone for this album, but it's the 4 singles that really knock this out of the park. Just big songs that came off this. Heaven's Trail, The Way It Is, Love Song, and Paradise. All the songs on here solid from start to finish, and they're all at the same level, the quality. Even the deep cuts on this stand out. So all making this album rank number 1 on Tesla album ranking. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to check the description for links to related videos. In particular, I've done a review of Tesla's 5-man London Jam. So this one here, it's one of the rare live albums that I have reviewed. If you're interested, do check the description for that. Also, if you like this video, please share it out on social media. Help spread the word that way, help grow this great community that we're getting started here with, of all of us music lovers and CD junkies and collectors and so forth. So hope you guys again enjoyed this. Please leave your comments and have a great day, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye-bye.